The Texas Missions. Early West Texas missions. San Angelo and El Paso. The earliest missions in the New World began in New Mexico near today's Santa Fe. The first Texas mission was established near San Angelo in 1632, but was only active for about 6 months, probably because its location was so far away from the New Mexico mission base. The new missions were established in 1682 near El Paso. During a Pueblo Indian revolt in New Mexico, Spanish settlers, Franciscans, and Antigua Indian refugees fled to what is now far west Texas, near the Rio Grande River. Missions established in this area included Corpus Christi, de la Isleta, Nuestra Señora de la Limpia, Concepción del Socorro, and San Antonio del Cenico. Although the majority of the missions were established many miles to the east, several other missions were built over time along the Rio Grande in West Texas. You can still visit the El Paso mission churches, meet Antigua Indians, and learn about their culture. The East Texas missions. Think back to your reading about La Salle and the French colony. When the Spanish discovered the French had attempted a settlement on land already claimed by Spain, they became very concerned. The French were already colonizing just to the east in Louisiana. Would they continue to expand their territory to the west into Texas? What could Spain do to prevent the French from slowly encroaching on their territory? Most of the land north of Mexico was inhabited only by Native Americans, trees, grass, dirt, and buffalo, usually not another soul in sight. Spain decided the best way to protect this land was to settle the territory with individuals and families who would provide not only an increasing population but also the culture and language of Spain. The Spanish government encouraged and insisted the Franciscans in the founding of missions throughout the eastern and central parts of Texas. The first temporary mission in the province were established in 1690 by the explorer Alonso de Leon and Father Damian Massanet, San Francisco de los Tejas, and in 1691 Santissimo Nombre de Marfa, near a Hacienda Indian settlement. Unfortunately, both of these missions failed and closed. Following another threat by the French, 3 more permanent missions were established in 1716 in East Texas: San Francisco de las Neches, Nuestra Señora de la Guadalupe, and Nuestra Señora de los Dolores. Although some Indians accepted the religious conversion and culture, most were more interested in protection from their enemies and trade. The missions were closed permanently in 1730 and were moved to a better location, with the final 2 East Texas missions being abandoned in 1773. East Texas Mission. San Francisco de los Tejas, replica of original mission founded in 1690, Grapeland, Texas, and the picture is on the left there. Central Texas Missions, San Antonio Missions. Today's most famous Texas missions are located in San Antonio. It was a long way between the missions in East Texas and Mexico, so a halfway settlement was needed to connect the two. A colony in this area would also serve to connect trade between New Mexico and Gulf of Mexico. The route, once serving as Indian trails and trade routes, became the popular path of missionaries, Indians, and others, and was called El Camino Real, the King's Highway, or the Old San Antonio Road. In 1718, Mission San Antonio de Valero, the Alamo, the Presidio San Antonio de Bexar, built 1 mile west of the mission, where the Spanish governor's palace stands today, were founded by Franciscan Father Antonio de San Buenaventura y Oliveras. He named the mission after Saint Anthony de Padua and Marquis de Valero, the Spanish viceroy of New Spain, who agreed to Father Olivera's plan for the mission location. 15 families were brought to the area from the Canary Islands in 1731, where they formed the beginnings of the Villa of San Fernando de Bera, now San Antonio. These settlers were given supplies in hopes their community would become established and the city would continue to grow. Indeed it did. The city of San Antonio eventually grew around the fort and the nearby mission, and by 1772 San Antonio de Bera became the capital city of Texas. The location of the mission changed several times throughout the years, with construction at the current location beginning in the 1720s. Finally, in about 1758, the Alamo Chapel, which you can still visit today, opened as an open-air church. It was built with limestone walls 3 1/2 feet thick, but was not finished. You will notice illustrations of the chapel during the Texas Revolution reveal the roof was incomplete at that time. Original plans included a domed roof and 2 bell towers, which would have resulted in the look of a more traditional mission chapel. Some think the Alamo is only the famous building seen in movies and pictures, but that recognizable structure is just a chapel. Originally, the 4-acre mission complex had about 30 adobe buildings used for workrooms and living quarters and 2 two-story wings which served as the convent. 8-foot walls, 480 feet long by 160 feet wide, surrounded most of the complex to protect the inhabitants from Comanche and Apache attacks. The Franciscans left the mission in 1793 when it was secularized and the land and supplies were given to the Indians of the mission and the Spanish locals. Since then, the Alamo has been home to a Spanish cavalry outpost, the city's first hospital, a fort, an army depot, a store, and a warehouse. Finally, Adina de Zavala and Clara Driscoll worked with the Daughters of the Republic of Texas to save the surviving buildings and turn them into a museum open to the public. Today, the Texas General Land Office controls and oversees operations of the Alamo. The Alamo is not the only mission located in San Antonio. Missions San Jose y San Miguel and the Aguayo was built in 1720. After the East Texas missions closed in 1730, 3 missions were moved to the San Antonio area in 1731. Nuestra Señora de la Purísima Concepción, San Francisco de la Espada, and San Juan Capistrano. If you visit Mission Concepcion, you can see the mission just as it was in 1755. Amazingly, it has never had to be rebuilt, as many of the older missions have after crumbling from foundation and other structural issues. More Texas missions. In 1721, a Presidio and then Nuestra Señora del Espíritu Santo de Zúñiga's mission, popularly called the La Bahia, meaning the bay, were built at the site of La Salle's failed Fort St. Louis colony. It was moved inland twice, finally settling in the San Antonio River, but called by the same name. This mission and Presidio were very important to the mission network since it lay at a major crossroad. Goliad, named to honor one of the heroes of the Mexican Revolution, is the town which grew around the Presidio. Goliad is actually an anagram. The namesake hero's name was Hidalgo. If you switch the letters around and take out the H, you are left with the word Goliad. Like many of the others, the mission was not successful in the conversation of Native Americans. Santa Cruz de San Saba. In 1757, the Santa Cruz de San Saba mission was built to serve and protect the local Apaches from their Comanche enemies on the San Saba River. Sadly, Comanche burned the mission and killed many inside in 1758. Facing multiple Indian attacks, the mission never recovered, and the Presidio was abandoned in 1768. Nuestra Señora del Refugio. The last mission built in Texas was Our Lady of Refuge, Nuestra Señora del Refugio. In 1793, near La Baja, it was often attacked by Comanche and Karankawa Indians and eventually closed in 1824.